Time for another episode of the Joshcast. Da 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 da, Joshcast. Da 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 da, Josh. Okay, I'm being silly. I'm trying to do this while wearing a mask, and that feels weird. We're in the middle of a pandemic. For those of you just joining us, and I'm really having to fight being spaced out this morning, which I think is a place I go to when I don't want to feel things. So I'm trying to ground and accept how I feel and go from there. Actually, I was just listening to Marin's podcast. You know what? I'm in the car. I have to wear the mask. I was about to take the mask off, but then I think it's the law now. It's the law. We have to wear the mask now. It's the law. I am the law! You think Gavin Newsom has said that at some point? I am the law! You can't force them to wear masks. Yes, I can. I am the law! God, even Judge Dredd, even the movie Judge Dredd, that version of the future is better than what we're doing right now. They had hoverbikes. Hoverbikes. There's a brilliant idea. These things are dangerous enough when they're just on the ground. Now they can fly. Perfect. Hoverbikes. That is not a vehicle I would like to play with. I was actually, before I get to that, let's finish this hoverbike vein. Let's keep digging. Let's keep digging for the gold in this hoverbike vein. So all the judges in Judge Dredd had the hoverbikes. I don't think anyone else did. But there had to be civilian hoverbikes. Yeah, you know, if you see the hoverbike, it's two possibilities. Either it's a judge and he's patrolling the city seeking justice, or it's a dude in his late 50s who is trying to recapture his youth. One of the two. Are you Judge Dredd? Nope. I'm Captain Cool! About to pick up my 21-year-old girlfriend. She is 21, everyone. She is 21. Maybe I would do a hover car. Maybe. But not a hover bike. There's just so much that could go wrong with a hover bike. And with me personally, I mean, just falling off the hover bike. That would be... I slip and I fall to my death on the hover bike. I could not imagine ever riding a hover bike. Ever... I don't see that happening. Now, are there different kinds of other hover bikes? Like, do you have the Harley Davidson, which is the cool hover bike, and the bike that the Judge Dredd had? That was a cool looking bike. Actually, you know what? If there are hover bikes in this future, does that mean there are hover razor scooters? Hover scooters. I don't care if it can hover. Still looks lame. Quickly, jump on the hover scooter. Nope, don't do that. I'd rather be captured by the bad guys than than fly on a hover scooter. No, thank you. I'm good. The Hover Razor. Yeah, they can call a scooter a razor. It doesn't help. Still a scooter. It's the Razor. Maybe if we just give the scooter a cool name, people will jump on board. Let's call it the laser erection. Laser erection? Yes, the laser erection. Two very cool things. I don't, first of all, it doesn't make sense when you put that together like that. Secondly, it's a little too gross, a little too sexual for what we're trying to sell here. This is something we want children to buy. They can't buy a product called a laser erection. And we don't know what that means. They won't know what that means. They're going to ask their parents, what is an erection? And then that's going to lead to a whole thing. We can't call this the laser erection. It doesn't even make sense. It has nothing to do with either a laser or an erection. At least if you call it a razor, I mean, you could say, well, you know, it's got an edge that looks kind of sharp and it kind of looks like a razor. But a laser erection, no, we're not calling the scooter the laser erection. We're not doing it. We're not doing it. Get out of my office. I started watching a documentary last night about extreme sports. I don't know. I don't know why. Because sometimes I guess I just like watching movies about people doing things I will never do. Ever. These people are going to this place in Portugal that has the biggest waves on Earth. These surfers. And they have to, in order for them to even get on the wave, they have to be towed by another person on a jet ski. And both the jet ski and the surfer have to ride this giant wave. And they're interviewing one of the surfers. And she's saying, oh, it's terrifying. It's a lot to think about. And, you know, it's life or death. And I'm sitting here thinking, who is telling you to do this? You look miserable. Listen, if you want to be miserable, but you want to do it without possibly having your body thrown against a cliff, come to Judaism. We can teach you to do that without even leaving your house. Judaism. Why surf dangerously when you can do it in your mind? And then, you know, they're showing footage of the surfers. And they're, you know, I think they're shooting it probably with drones or in a helicopter or something. But the wave is so big they can't really even get that close to the wave. So I spent a half an hour watching dots on waves. To the point they had to have text next to the dot saying, hey, this is Jim. Okay. I'll take your word for it. I'm seeing a dot on a wave trying to stay alive. Then there was a guy who said, I guess I'm an adrenaline junkie. And then he corrected himself. He said, well, technically it's serotonin and something else. So I'm glad that he is very specific about his neuroses. I'm glad that he's making it clear. Now these are the chemicals that I'm addicted to. It's not adrenaline. Yeah, but I have no desire whatsoever no desire whatsoever to surf. I don't want to ski. I used to ski. I used to downhill ski. Before that, my parents and I would cross-country ski, and I stopped that because that is annoying. I can't stand cross-country skiing. Hey, do you like walking, but you also want to be cold and you want to trudge? You want to make that all harder? Cross-country skiing. Hey, do you see that really cool downhill skiing stuff that James Bond did, where he would ski downhill and then make love to a beautiful woman at the bottom with champagne? Yeah, it's not that. This is you trudging through the snow. This is you driving up to the mountains and trudging through snow so that you can feel in touch with nature. Because cross-country skiing, because you hate your job that much, I got to go back to this hoverbike thing. I'm not finished playing with the hoverbikes. Because I think they did have hover cars in that Judge Dredd movie. I'm referring to, by the way, the Stallone Judge Dredd movie, not the Carl Urban Judge Dredd movie. I can't remember if he had a hoverbike in that. I don't think he did. And maybe that's why that second movie, though it was a cult classic, did not attain the level of box office success that it could and should have, was because there was no hoverbike. I don't know what the process is for getting the hoverbike license. If it's the same as just any other driver's license. Because the fact that you have to fly and ride a motorcycle. There are 16-year-olds taking hoverbike tests with a hoverbike instructor. Are there hoverbikes with sidecars? There has to be a hoverbike with a sidecar, but nobody uses it, and nobody wants to ride in the sidecar of the hoverbike. No matter what happens, you're never going to look cool. We've got to get to the other side of the city to save Judge Dredd. Quickly. Get in the sidecar of my hoverbike. No, you go ahead. You go ahead. I'll catch up. We don't have time to argue about this. We need to save Judge Dredd. Get in the sidecar. I'm not getting in the sidecar. I can sit behind you on the hoverbike. No, there's no need. I have a sidecar. Yeah, well, I'm not sitting in a sidecar. Why not? Because I don't want to be the guy who sits in the sidecar. Well, what does that mean? Who is that guy? You know, I don't want to be the sidekick. But you are the sidekick. No, I'm not. Listen, I'm the one who owns the hoverbike. Ergo, I should drive the hoverbike. I'm not disagreeing with you. You can drive the hoverbike. I'm going to take this hover bus. You know, I'll probably get there a few minutes after you, but, I'm the sidekick anyway. I can be there to back you up. Just get in the sidecar. I'm not getting in the sidecar. Nobody looks cool in a sidecar. You could have Brad Pitt, okay? Chiseled muscles, not wearing a shirt, hair flowing in the wind. You put him in a sidecar, he's a little less Brad Pitt. He's a little less Brad Pitt. Would women still sleep with him? I think 2% fewer women would sleep with him if he was in the sidecar. That's the power of the sidecar. Well, since when did you care about looking cool? Since right now! I'm not riding in a sidecar. Even if it is a hover bike. I don't care. I'm not Robin. Yeah, sidecar of a bike. Even a sidecar of a normal bike, I wouldn't ride that. No desire. I've seen people riding a sidecar. And I just feel like they're saying, I'm helpless. I know I'm normally helpless in a car, but I am at the mercy of fate here. Boy, a lot of emotions about sidecars of hover bikes. A lot of emotions about that. I wonder if in the world of Judge Dredd there exists a book called Zen and the Art of Hoverbike Motorcycle. No, Zen and the Art of Hoverbike Maintenance. You really should know how your hoverbike works. And it's a metaphor for understanding how life works. You see right there, that's a thermonuclear reactor. And if you're not careful, it's going to be Zen and the Art of Being a Plume of Smoke, which is a much shorter book.